Hello, friends. This is Christian Fedor here with a new video for you. So, I'm assuming you're all friends of astrology. I'm here to prove to you how astrology works. So, what I'm doing this video on is the full moon that is coming up on the 17th. And I'm doing this particular from the perspective of where I live. So I live in the Gosphere area, meaning Central Coast, okay? But this particular chart is done for Gosphere. So that's where our council, our infamous council, is located, right? Anyway, so this is will be the mood and the atmosphere of the energies that are either residing or are being stimulated by the conjunction and the harmonics that are generated. It's kind of like the music of what people used to term the sphere. So those are vibrations that meet and resonate and create harmonics, right? And these harmonics are translated through the human mind because we are like antennas of the cosmic. The cosmic is who we are, the cosmic energy. So that cosmic energy is also the will of God. And that it can be seen through astrology because it's one of those very divine tools that if you are able to expand your mind, you can actually understand, and you discover that there is meaning in everything, and that life and everything in it holds meaning. So whoever tells you that there is no meaning to life is a fool, big time. So my friends, let me just put the music back on because I think it stopped. Okay, that's good. Sometimes it stops because I've got spirits. I'd like to show me when they are here. Anyway, so let's get back to the chart. So this is a chart for the 17th of the 2nd, 2022 for 11 a.m. okay, which is when we're gonna have the full moon at 27 degrees 59 seconds in Leo, okay, opposing the transiting sun at 27 degrees 59 seconds Aquarius, okay. So having said that, we're going to be looking in fact at what and where the sun is and what the sun is doing and where the focus is for that day, okay? Because the moon is reflecting the energy from the sun, right? The moon is the public mind, the public opinion, the public feeling, the public atmosphere, the public population, what the population is thinking, or what are they being urged by, what is their desire, collective desire. All right, so the sun on that day is in Aquarius 27 degrees, as I said, right? But because this is a chart for the day, this means that where does it fall? And it falls in the second house, where also the transiting Saturn in Aquarius happens to be as well. This is a big deal because this is pointing out that this particular full moon is coming from the sphere of finances, okay, the world of finances, what you own, money, cash, all those things that you get from the material world that form your possessions, okay. It also means literally in a mundane level, it means money, okay. It means your personal resources, right? The stuff that you own yourself, including your own body, okay? That is your most immediate possession, your body, physical nature, okay? So it happens to be in Aquarius, okay? With with Saturn and Jupiter. This is good and bad, or restrictive, yet it is actually expanding. It expanded somewhat, in terms of like the country and our perception of our country, the land that we occupy, the physical land, because that's the second house, real estate, the geography, the country is being open to foreigners because Jupiter is passing through the second house, and Jupiter symbolizes foreigners in Pisces, meaning they're coming from overseas, you see, over water. Right, that's one mundane explanation for it. The other mundane explanation is that you have Saturn in that same house of this. Let me just move the cursors so you guys can see where I'm talking about. Second house here, okay? Saturn is going through there. This means that there is restrictions that are being imposed on some technological applications, or there are perhaps new laws and new ideas that are affecting the financial networks that we have available to us, our immediate networks. And also, for example, authority figures are moving in to create more control or centralize, which is kind of conflictive here because this is the sign of Aquarius, or authority figures are moving into a modern sphere where they're saying, okay, there is new technologies available for financing, but at the same time, they want to apply legal restrictions. So what we're going to be seeing on that day, on the day of the full moon, is that, okay, new impositions from technological figures, people perhaps who are in authority in terms of the affairs of technology and finance, right? And they are going to be putting their finger in and saying, well, this cannot, needs to be corrected because they see that there is perhaps too much democratization. So they're trying to restrict the democratization of the financial situation that is beginning to emerge out of the energy that is being put into these new technologies and new ways of using these technologies that allow for more for an expansion of the financial systems that we have at play right now in this day and age. All right, so how is this affecting the public, right? The full moon, right? Where we're at in terms of the public expectations, right? So the full moon is in the opposite house because this is a full moon, okay? It's in opposition to the sun, all right? So it's in the 8th house of shares, share market, resources, tax, things that are owned by many, many people, like mutual funds, banking, anything that's held in a bank, taxes, as I said, things to do with the dead, like inheritances and things like life and death, issues to do with the general consensus in terms of what's of worth, what's valuable, like gold. All right, so what do we have here? All right, so the moon is in Leo. Leo rules in the material world, for example, the mineral gold. Okay, so this immediately gives you a concrete idea in terms of finance and things that people value, right? So this particular aspect here of the full moon will affect the price of gold, okay? Collective value, 8th house, okay? So, and it's in Leo, the sign of gold, right? Public, meaning the public will be seeing how gold, and due to the public desire, gold will be going up and down that day, will be unstable, okay, even though the sun is in a fixed sign. All right, so there will be some unstable nature. There will be speculation, okay, will be affecting the price of gold. Okay, so this is a very materialistic type of chart that happened for this particular day. So the whole nature of this day, when we have the full moon, will be materialistic. And let me show you why. as well. It's like kind of like fractal. It turns into a bigger picture, but it all boils down to the same thing. Okay, and in this particular case, Pluto, and let me move the cursor so you understand what I'm saying here. Pluto in Capricorn, as you can see here, Capricorn is a very materialistic sign. Okay, it's concerned almost strictly with material success. Okay, and that's why it rules over corporations, because who and why is a corporation? An entity that has forged a lot of sorry about that. All right, so as I was saying, let me just share our screen again. So there's a client there. Anyways, it's all good. Anyways, as I was saying, Pluto here is also at the end of a cycle in Capricorn. Okay, so this is like quite an extreme expression and highly perfected, perhaps a highly sophisticated, highly complex situation that Pluto is bringing into focus, because it is conjuncting the ascendant of that day. It is giving the entire nature and color and personality to that day. It is the atmosphere prevalent on this full moon that's coming up, right? Anything Capricorn, as I said, it's a very materialistic sign. I'm sorry to you guys, it's not a negative thing, it's actually a good thing, but it all depends on what values you have, okay, and how you operate with those values. So Pluto here symbolizes a situation where lots of changes are happening, massive changes, okay, almost revolutionary changes where it is the Rubicon, that cross the Rubicon, that line of no return. So this is a line of no return for what is going on in terms of corporations, for what is going on in terms of their power, literally, because Pluto is about power, their control, because Pluto is about control, about transformation, because Pluto will transform irrespective of what you think about it. This is a force that corporations have to withstand, and it's their own doing. Okay, so how are they going to transform themselves? Well, let's hope for the best for all of us. Okay, so what's going on in the first house? Capricorn is symbolizing here the characteristic of that day. So corporations and their power and what is that they are doing, and how this particular time in the world is causing changes for them and causing changes for the public are put into focus, evidently, right? So Mercury is in this house as well. So this particular day, if this day was a person, this person would be talking quite a lot about things to do with Aquarius. Why? Because the Mercury here is in the first degree of Aquarius, meaning this is a very sociable degree, very sociable, wants to speak to as many people, wants to socialize, wants to create networks. So what's going on here? The networks of corporations, that the networks that have been created to assert control and power by corporations, will be trying to somehow communicate with each other, perhaps to create something more akin to a more democratic and more socially oriented and more humane and more humanitarian and more social and more altruistic ways of thinking and operating. Okay, but this is the first house, meaning the mask, how they want to appear. They will be communicating ways as to how they wish to appear. They will want to appear far more altruistic than what they are. They will be talking to a lot of people who will end up perceiving them this way. They will want to be perceived this way, except the ascendant or rising is still Capricorn. And Pluto is still there, conjuncting the ascendant, so nobody's fooled. Okay, nobody is fooled about this. Irrespective of that, there will be a lot of raging going on, because Juno rages and it's quite jealous in terms of what am I talking? But what is the Juno? Juno is here. Okay, it's also conjuncting the Mercury. So there's a lot of jealousy and envy going on, feeling left out. Those are just a few little ideas that come from the understanding of Juno. So a lot of that will be going on. It's like people will be feeling left out. Perhaps communities will be feeling left out. Perhaps some corporations and executives will be feeling left out and jealous of other people who are also running, like CEOs who will be talking about each other behind their backs. And let me tell you what is also emphasizing that: the transiting Venus and Mars conjuncting each other in Capricorn in the 12th house, meaning that there is a lot of energy, a lot of passion, perhaps a lot of need for this desirous urges to basically do things under the table, behind the closed doors, in secret. There will be machinations by corporations, things being worked out in secret, because there's enmity, there's animosity behind the scenes. There's a need to be underhanded, because Mars, for example, here represents secret enemies. So secret enmities will be perhaps not seen, because this is an area where it's sort of occulted, meaning hidden, okay, put away behind the scenes. You can't see this. That's what's going on. Hidden enemies begin to make put things into motion and planning. Okay, a lot of stuff will be done in secret within corporations. A lot of things are going on within the back rooms within corporations during this moment in time on the 17th for the full moon. So what else is going on? Right. Neptune, the asteroid, which deals with trauma. Neptune in Pisces, together with Neptune, we're both in the third house of this particular day. Okay, what does it mean? Right. It means Neptune being in the third house of communications, in the house of knowledge or understanding, the house of transmission of information, learning, and for example, which deals with short courses, short transportation. There's a lot of confusion going on. And this confusion has to do with perhaps some dream that is being held. Let me find an aspect here. It's actually quite good. Right. The Mars, the enmity, the backroom deals, is connected with this aspect. Okay. If we are looking to formulate a scenario, a plausible scenario for this. Right. So there is secret backroom deals that are formulated to create chaos in terms of communications and how perhaps I need more information here. Let me look. Neptune is in the same house. Jupiter is in the same house. This is all about finance and communication. How people are talking to each other here. So finances and communication networks are trying to talk to each other, and a lot of confusion is about to be formulated on purpose, because then it's kind of like a strategy that is being created to create chaos. Right. The 12th house right now is is ruled during this day by the sign of Sagittarius. So the ruler of Sagittarius is Jupiter. Jupiter right now is within the second house. So again, this formulation, this construction of this fog of financial war is being formulated by people who want to create cooperative chaos, okay, and financial chaos as well. There is a lot of confusion in it. So that day, that particular day, don't listen to people who perhaps are overseas talking about the financial systems. Don't trust it. It'll be make believe. It will be deceptive. So there is deception afoot here, okay, in regards to finances and in regards to what it is being said, what is being spoken, what is being transmitted, what is being communicated about finances on that day is deceptive. There is deception, as well as there is also the public who wants to speculate a lot. So there will be in the share market a lot of speculation and a lot of up and down that day. Okay, because that's what the moon does, and it's in the 8,000 right now. Price of gold will be doing whoa that day. Okay, up and down like a freaking amusement park, right? So let's move on, right? So that day, okay, the energies and the path that God wants to push society towards is basically in Taurus, which is where the North Node is at on that day, right? And it's conjuncted by Setna, the asteroid Setna here. So Setna has to do a lot with nature and the ocean. Okay, it's the goddess of the ocean, of nature as well, very large numbers. So what's going on here? It's in Taurus in the 5th house of creativity. All right, so what is divine will, the divine force trying to ask you or ask society, humankind? It is trying to ask humanity to be more creative in terms of how that, with that connection to the natural world, is asking you to come closer to nature in a joyous way, asking you to take a chance, to take a leap, and to try new ways of doing things in terms of all those things that you are usually expecting from the material world, like for example, your food. Okay, it is asking you to take a leap and to do things in a new way. Okay, it is trying to ask you whether you will take that opportunity, financial opportunity. This is why the public is actually in a situation where they want to speculate in terms of finances, okay, because this is repeating itself into a larger and smaller fractal form. So the North Node here, okay, divine will, is asking us collectively to connect closer to nature and to find happiness within that closeness, okay, with the animal world, with the ocean and all these creatures. It's asking for us to take that in consideration. This is the North Node that is transiting now in Taurus, okay? Flora and fauna. It's asking us for us to look and find new ways to be creative in terms of how do we get our nourishment in terms of our physical needs. Okay, how do you feed your body? Okay, it's asking for that. Also, children, it's asking for us to mind and perhaps create a better connection with nature for our children in terms of their food and how you can make them happy by changing their diet as well. So, with that said, okay, perhaps I'll move on with some other things of interest here. Part of fortune on that day will be focusing on the descendant of that day, okay, which means that it will be a good day for, let's say, people in the care industry, in the homes, perhaps home renovations, people who do a lot of nursing, the nursing, if you want to call it an industry, hospital industry, perhaps also the building industry will benefit from what's going on. Okay, because that's where part of fortune is. And also deals, creating alliances, perhaps at home, if this is a more mundane type of perspective, but in a larger scale, big deals, big alliances with perhaps industries in terms of the care industry, the nursing industry, are all basically brought into focus, and that would prove to be a good day for any form of contracts with those type of industries, peoples. All right, so let's see. This day, then the MC, which is the highest point of that particular day, is all about creating some form of harmony, some form of balance, some form of peaceful resolution between two different parties. So like I said, the whole point of this particular day is to create some form of peace, because there's a lot going on. Okay, it's a day that requires diplomacy. It's a day that requires thorough understanding of legal contracts, and perhaps also it's a good day for creating works of art, artistic stuff, and a good day for diplomacy. Diplomacy has to be at the top most of our interests during that day, or priorities. Okay, so focus on diplomacy on that day, wherever it is that you go, whatever it is that you do. All right, so be gentle and use gentle words. What else can we talk about? I think I've said quite a lot. So also Uranus is in the 4th house of the home on that day, and so is Aries, the goddess, which happens to be the sister of Mars. Anyway, so that basically creates perhaps situations where the homeland is a little bit aggravated. Homeland, because I'm talking about here, not about anybody in particular, but about everybody, about our society, our culture, our country, right? So how do I translate that? Well, the synthesis would be that the country will be, the public will be sort of irritated. Okay, the level of irritation is increasing, and righteously so. Okay, Aries is someone who is perhaps annoyed and aggravated and angry with a reason. Okay, is a rebel with a cause. Okay, so our country is beginning to get really annoyed, very, very angry, and perhaps there's a feeling of restlessness in terms of energy needs to be released. Now, Uranus is also passing through this house, right? And Uranus is right now for a while in Taurus. So again, it is talking about finances and real estate and home, perhaps home improvement, new ways to create homes, perhaps new forms of housing. Okay, in terms of like modern, perhaps new ideas, all of this made new. In the 4th house. So this is directly talking about revolution in terms of financial, in terms of how we run our businesses at home, perhaps turning homes into new businesses and new ways to do business that allow us to work from home. Okay, and using nature, because it's Pluto. I mean to say Taurus, and there will be more of this coming up, obviously, because there needs to be a resolution. This particular aspect with Uranus going through Taurus is aspecting currently the Poseidon symbol over here in Mars. So again, it's Scorpio. Okay, so it has to do with corporations and shares. And Scorpio is the sign of the 8th house that rules all those issues in regards to themes in regards to life, death, inheritance, other people's money, shared money, shared values. So yeah, shared values are being sort of really analyzed, right? We are looking at them with a real critical eye, right? We're investigating what's at the root of what's wrong, and we will be analyzing and prodding until we find out what to actually do to make our homes, to make our most immediate environment better and transform it physically, materially, literally. On that day, there aren't that many bad aspects. The most difficult situation here is the financial one, because the pull from the universe is what divinity wants us to do is kind of like at odds with where our financial system is at, because there's a square there between the sun, where it's at, and the North Node. Okay, so there is conflict between how we want to be happy and how we are pushing to create new ways to do business and to be fortunate and to find fortune. Okay, because the fifth house is about that. How to make our children happy, how to provide for our children, and where the sun is in the eighth, in second house of finances, right? Collective finances, meaning in your ideals in terms of financial security. So that is at odds with where the divine will is at, and the divine will win. You see, it will win. So there is no changing. Basically not changing that destiny, okay, that purpose, that priority. The priority is the will of divinity, of God, and that will win over where the sun is right now. So the sun will have to transform in terms of finances, okay? So our human will have to transform the way we do finance. So this is very good for, I guess, cryptocurrencies, digital currencies. Crypto means, like things that are to do with the ideas, cryptology, things that are secret, hidden or underground. So interesting, but that word needs to be changed. It needs to be digital currency. But besides that, I think that's pretty good. So you can see how astrology works. So be prepared for the 17th or the full moon, and you'll see how astrology works. So thank you for watching, and also thank you for having an open mind. All right, the future is made out of open minds. Bye bye. See you again. Also, this is an add-on to this particular day. So this full moon that is coming up will be bringing some bad news, okay, and it's to do with the death of many children. So it'll be brought to light, or it will be revealed that children are dying. It will be very obvious, and it is because of new technologies being used on that body. So I would suggest to you all, in regards to astrology, for you to keep an open mind, because astrology in the right hands, with the right perspective, with the right impersonal perspective, can actually reveal much about this world. Okay, so with that said, thank you so much, and I regret to say things like that, but they have to be, the focus will be on truth as well. Okay. So with that, take care.